What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from HTA RL, Hit the Apex Racing League. This is the Assists League. This is round 10 at France F1 2019 on the PS4 platform, and we are getting ready to do a 50% race. We're getting ready to do an 18-minute short qualifying session, followed by a 50% race. Round 10 here at France. And coming off of a very exciting round 9 at Canada last week, another great battle between V-Rita and KCG as they've been swapping the points lead back and forth for the latter part of a few weeks now. V-Rita coming off with a pole position. It was his 5th pole position of the season. Walked away with his 6th win. KCG kept himself in contention with his 7th podium finish of the year. Epic the Animal clawing his way to a 3rd place finish. Q-Tip would finish 4th. Salmon Pike was 5th. Gad was 6th. Khalifa was 7th. Zero was 8th. Ben Gallagher 9th. And Charlie Sampson was 10th. Excuse me. Harry Saunders would get credited with an 11th place finish. His car was AI, and then 12th through 18th was all DNFs. Unfortunately, that was Fozzie Wazzie, David Wallbank, Callum Anderson, Ninja, Try and Catch, Invictus, and Sippy. And in the case of David Wallbank, that was his 5th DNF of the season, and he has subsequently been banned from the league permanently after his altercation on track with Callum Anderson. If you didn't catch it last week, Callum Anderson and David Wallbank, for the latter part of the second part of the race, really, they went back and forth with each other. Upon further review, it appeared that Callum Anderson was more or less a victim in the circumstances, David Wallbank being the antagonist. So Wallbank was banned from another league, and that is at least 3 leagues that I know he is permanently banned from: HTA, Hit the Apex, IRL, International Racing League, and then SRL. And while there are many SRL leagues, there's only one Sandro Racing League, and he has been banned from all 3 for life. But moving forward, Callum Anderson, the victim, he is going to be in the race today as we run down our driver lineup. Looks like so far we've got 13 drivers. Got Q-Tip in the Williams. Epic the Animal will be in the Factory Renault. Harry Saunders in the Williams. V-Rita, your championship points leader in the Racing Point. Fozzie Wazzie back in the McLaren. Zero is in the Haas. Khalifa in the Mercedes. Chaz Meister, that's Charlie Sampson, in the Red Bull Racing along with his teammate Gad. Invictus in the other Racing Point. And Callum Anderson, Sippy, Salmon Pike, we're all waiting for them to get into their cars and get underway. A lot of discussion going on in the background as to what cars people should be in. Callum Anderson, I believe, should be in a Toro Rosso. Salmon Pike should be in the factory Ferrari. And it looks like we just lost Sippy, unless Sippy did pick his car and it puts him someplace else. Nope, I don't see Sippy anymore. Looks like that's going to leave us with 12 drivers. This would actually be the smallest grid this season for HTA. So that's a little disappointing. So getting ready to kick off here. Bear with me, I'm having some technical difficulties. Here we go. So 18-minute short qualifying session to be kicked off. And if I think I saw right, I don't think I saw... I know KCG's not making the race today. He announced that earlier that he wasn't going to be able to make the race. I don't think that I saw V-Rita, and I did see V-Rita. So V-Rita is in here. He's in the Racing Point. That's right. So V-Rita will be able to capitalize today as long as he doesn't DNF like he did a few weeks ago. He should be able to capitalize today with KCG not being able to make the race due to work. V-Rita could really close in on this points championship. He's the current points leader, so he should be able to extend that points lead big time over KCG. He could possibly lock it up here in the next week or so. But recapping last week, as I said, V. Rita with his 5th pole position of the season and his 6th win. He'll be looking to make it a 6th pole and a 7th win for sure. Fozzie Wazzie with her 3rd DNF. She crashed out on the last lap at the last corner. She hit the wall of champions as V. Rita came through to take the win. David Wallbank, we talked about him. He had a DNF. He retired the car and has been banned from the league. Callum Anderson, a victim of David Wallbank shenanigans. Ninja picked up his 1st DNF of the season. Try and catch with his 5th. Invictus with his 3rd, and Sippy, unfortunately, had his 2nd DNF of the season. So it looks like we've only got 12 drivers on the track today, unfortunately. That is the smallest grid that the HTA RL Assist League has had all season, so there is some solace in that. It's the smallest grid they've had all year, and it's round 10, so it's been a pretty good turnout for the most part. Paul Ricard, heading into today's race, I mean, it's sun and shining is here at the qualifying session. Paul Ricard, not one of my favorite tracks in this game, not one of my favorite tracks in real life, for sure. It has made for some good online racing in some of the other league races that I've done, so I'm hoping for that again today. I do think that everybody will be chasing this guy right here, V. Rita, as he goes out on his outlap. And he is out. It looks like he's currently on the hard tires, so he's probably going to put in a banker lap, go in, do a couple of adjustments, put on an actual soft set or medium set of tires, and then do a full-blown qualifying lap. So right now just getting a feel for the car on his out lap. As we said, he's got 5 pole positions to his credit this year, leads the league in poles. And really, it's been mostly between him and KCG. Now, Epic did pick up a pole position back in round 7. That was a surprise pole position. Harry Saunders has a pole position to his credit, round 4 back in Hockenheim. And then Dan Thompson, who we haven't seen since round 3, he had one back at Spa. And Khalifa's the only other driver to have a pole position this year. He had one back at round 1. And unfortunately, Khalifa not in the race today. So, V. Rita, actually, Khalifa is here. My mistake. Khalifa is on track today in the Mercedes, so he might be able to give V. Rita a run for his money, but I have a feeling this is going to be an easy weekend, an easy race weekend for V. Rita, while everybody else is going to be running for 2nd. So we'll ride along with V. Rita. We'll ride along with V. Rita as he sets on for his first hot lap. And Gad just came over the PSN chat, said he already messed up his setup. It's locked in because of Parc Ferme rules, so Gad will have to make do with what he's got. And Epic the Animal has botched his tire selection. He's on intermediates according to the timing and scoring loop. So I'm sure Epic didn't mean to do that. And we've got a caution flag flying in Sector 2. So Epic is going to have to waste a lap to go back around, put the car back into the pits, put on a new set of tires, then go back out. And to be perfectly honest, I'm actually surprised Epic's already out on track. He usually doesn't make a qualifying run until very late in the qualifying session. But we've already lost 4 minutes in this qualifying session. 4 minutes already gone. Riding along with V. Rita. He's going to be the first one to cross the line and set a time. He's out on the hard tires. He's going to set a banker lap. And V. Rita comes across the line 1:31.678. We'll pick up Epic, and there you see those green Bandit intermediate tires on the factory Renault. Obviously a mistake on his part. So we should have another guy coming across the line now. That is Zero coming across the line with a 1:32.2. He's on the medium tires. Looks like we might have a Williams coming across the line. And that was Q-Tip, who just came across the line with a 1:32 flat. Also on the hard tires. And Epic is coming around. He's going to dive into the pits. Apparently, Epic is not going to dive into the pits. So unless the game is really wrong, I mean, he ran a 146. That would be fairly on par with intermediate tires. Does he not know he's on the intermediates? Very confusing qualifying session here with Epic the Animal. He has to know he's got intermediates on the car. Why would you set a time? Then why would you go around for another lap? So we'll pick up Simon Pike. He's a reserve driver as it stands, but he'll be getting a full-time seat next week. And Q-Tip saying, nice one, Animal, on the PSN chat. So 146.1. So Q-Tip knows he's on intermediate tires. He let Simon Pike through. Simon Pike hasn't set a time yet. We've only got 4 drivers that have set times, and the clock is ticking away. Less than 12 minutes left to play in the session. Still waiting on just about everybody else to set a time. And Simon Pike looks like he's tiptoeing around this track a little bit. Might be struggling with grip. Instead of that very sharp last corner. That's a very ignorant last corner. Simon Pike across the line. Wow, 131.287. So I take back, it looked like he was tiptoeing, but it looks like he was on the gas pretty good. 0.4 of a second quicker than V. Rita. But V. Rita's time was set on the hard tire, so we need to remember that. It looks like a lot of other drivers are on their outlaps. We'll pick up Invictus is currently on an outlap. We'll pick up Callum Anderson. We'll ride along with him as he starts his first hot lap of this session. Down into turn 1 and turn 2. Now he's on the soft tires. Got a few takers on soft tires. Zero's the fastest driver. Well, he set his time on mediums. He's currently 132.2. He's going out on the softs. So right now he's the fastest driver to switch over to the softs. He's right along with Callum Anderson down the long back straightaway. Oh, takes that very wide, and he invalidated his time. So that is going to do that. So we'll pick up Fozzie Wazzie. She is rocking the McLaren once again. She is on the soft tires. And she's already invalidated her time as well. So it looks like, let's see, Anderson's time has been invalidated. We'll pick up Harry Saunders. Looks like he's not on a hot lap. He's letting the Toro Rosso go through. That would be Anderson, whose time has been invalidated. He's going to come back around. He's going to start another flying lap. So we'll hop on board with him again. Let's see what he's got in the tank for a qualifying lap. Less than 10 minutes to play in the session. Clock winding down. Oh, and he blows the first corner, so he's clearly not on a hot lap. Looks like he's going to dive back into the pits. We'll pick up Zero, though. Oh, and Harry Saunders is retired from the session. So his time is locked in at a 131.707. We pick up Zero. And it looks like Zero has already invalidated his time as well. And Callum Anderson's time invalidated. Zero's time invalidated. We'll pick up Invictus. Looks like Invictus is really the only car on track right now that's going to be doing anything. He's currently on an outlap. 5 drivers have yet to set a time. And Invictus has invalidated his lap time as well. So things kind of at a standstill right this second. We've got a lot of cars in the pits. Some guys going out on their out laps. We've got Gadd currently on an out lap. Invictus is on an out lap. Q-Tip is on an out lap. Zero's lap time has been invalidated. Saunders has retired from the qualifying session. Trying to we'll pick up Invictus. Invictus would be the first driver on a hot lap in this little group that is on track. Runs very wide coming out of turn 2. He's got Fozzie Wozzie in front of him, so he could use the slipstream off of Fozzie's car down his long back straightaway. Fozzie might let him go too soon, though. He's going to get a little bit of a slipstream off of Fozzie, plus the DRS. Creeping up, he's 200 and look like 210 maybe down the straightaway. Fozzie gets out of the way, he's going to let him go through. Rocket ship on wheels, he's 196 heading into this corner, still flat out. Runs a beautiful line through that sweeping right-hander. And Invictus is on a pretty clean, very good-looking lap. He's running great lines through these corners. And you got this very hard right-hander. This last corner is an ignorant corner to try and get out of. Hard to get the power down. It's easy to go 4 wide off of there. He's going to come across the line, 132.531. Good enough for 7th quickest so far. And we pick up Gadd. Gadd's coming out of Sector 3 now, the last few corners. Got the sweeping left-hander, and then you got this really hard right-hander right here. Gadd comes across the line, 132.028. I'm sorry, 082. Good enough for 5th. You pick up Fozzie Wozzie, and Fozzie's time is invalidated. But look who just went to the top of the charts. Q-Tip, the 2-time HTA F1 champion, to the top of the charts with a 131.094 set on the medium tires. But V. Rita currently on an out lap in the medium tires. 5 minutes left to play in the session, and we're still waiting for times to be set by Charlie Sampson, Callum Anderson, and Fozzie Wozzie. Those 3 drivers have yet to set a time. And I'm really surprised at the car count today. I'm really surprised. I mean, it's only 12 drivers. They've had a relatively high car count all season. In fact, I think the average car count heading into today's race was 17 cars per race. And all of a sudden, we've got 12. Yeah, the lowest car count we had prior to today was all the way back at round 6 at COTA, where we had 15 cars on track. But that being said, short on car count does not mean short on action. I'm willing to bet we're going to see a lot of good fights mid-pack. And V. Rita blowing through that corner, so he is not going to set a time this time by. And Salmon Pike goes to the top of the charts. 136.16. He's the first driver to crack it in the 130s. Does it on the soft tires. That is your provisional pole sitter right there. Salmon Pike in the Alfa Romeo. We'll pick up Callum Anderson. Callum Anderson comes across the line, 134.41. Where did that come from? A great qualifying effort by Callum Anderson. And he is now the provisional pole sitter, 134.41. That has now dropped your points leader, V. Rita, into the 5th spot. But he is yet to make a second qualifying run. So V Rita currently on an invalidated lap. Obviously, he's possibly setting up for this next lap to be his hot lap. And it looks like Nelson Santos has just joined the session, so that'll give us 13 cars on track. Unfortunately, Nelson Santos will be starting at the rear of the grid. So we'll jump on board with V Rita. 2:45 left to play in the session as he comes across the line to start a flyer. He's on the medium tires. He's dropped his 6th quickest so far. Khalifa was able to jump up into the 5th spot with a 1:31.213. So that drops V Rita all the way down to 6th. Yellow flag sector 3 flies. V Rita very, very tight on that corner there. And that has invalidated his lap time. So V Rita struggling here a little bit as the clock is starting to wind down. A 2-minute warning coming up. Fozzie Wozzie has finally set a time at a 1:35.547. Epic the Animal currently on an out lap. He's got a proper set of tires on this time, no intermediates. You see there his time was a 1:46.128. That is because he accidentally had intermediates on his car. Q-Tip is retired from the session, so he's going to be locked in on a 1:31.094. Guess that was good enough for him. He's going to call it a day as far as the qualifying goes. We're going to watch Epic the Animal. This is what Epic has been doing all season, has been saving his qualifying runs towards the end of the qualifying session. 1:40 left to play. He'll probably come across the line with about a minute left on the clock, so this would be a last-ditch effort to try and put a time on the board. And Charlie Sampson still in the pits. Not sure if Charlie is going to try a qualifying lap at this point or not. He pretty much doesn't have enough time to get around track, so Charlie Sampson will be locked in at 12th. He'll probably be followed by Nelson Santos. And Zero has retired from the session with a 1:31.137, so he's going to call it a day. So we pick up Epic the Animal. We're going to ride on board with him, see what he's got in the tank for this qualifying session. 1 minute left. And just as I said, he would come across the line with about a minute left on the play clock, and here he goes. He's on his he's on his hot lap. Ooh, struggling with that gearbox a little bit, down in the 1 and then back up in the 2. Wasn't the smoothest transition of gear selections that I've seen, but gets back on the gas coming down the straightaway. Khalifa is retired from the session. He's well over 200 miles an hour down the straightaway, creeping up on 210. And again, a hard downshift. V Rita has retired from the session, so 1:31.678. Rita going to be starting deep in the field. I'm really surprised by that. Callum Anderson, your provisional pole sitter. That'd be a huge, huge moment for Anderson, coming off of a abysmal race last week where he was caught up with David Wallbank for most of the race. Anderson turns out was just an innocent victim in said circumstance. It all started when Anderson made contact with Wallbank, incidentally, in a corner, and then Wallbank retaliated for most of the second part of the race. Callum Anderson, your provisional pole sitter. Here comes Epic the Animal, and Epic is not able to do anything. 1:31.249. The only other driver that we are waiting on is Gad. Gad's still on a hot lap. Gad's got a good chance to improve his time. A lot of guys jumped out of this qualifying session early. I'm really surprised. And V Rita drops to 7th because of Epic's time at a 1:31.249. So V Rita drops to 7th in the field. That's the deepest starting spot V Rita has had all season. And Victus has retired from the session. We're watching Gad. He is the last driver on track. He's on a hot lap. The last couple of corners. He's coming through the penultimate corner now. Last tight right-hander. Get the power down. See what kind of time you can pull out of your hat. And Gad is going to come across the line. And he improves his time. Looks like he might have jumped up to the 7th position. So that would drop V Rita all the way down to 8th. So congratulations to Callum Anderson on a surprise pole position. Anderson starting on pole. Salmon Pike with a great qualifying effort. The only two drivers to crack into the 130s. Q-Tip will be starting in 3rd. Zero is 4th. Khalifa is 5th. Epic the Animal is 6th. Gadd is 7th. V. Rita, your championship points leader on the hard tires, starting in 8th. Harry Saunders will be 9th, and Invictus is 10th. Fozzie Wazzie will be 11th. Charlie Sampson did not set a time. He will be 12th. And Nelson Santos joined mid-session. He will be 13th. So we'll have 13 drivers for the race. V. Rita, though, watch out for that. He's the only driver on the hard tires. He could be running an alternate tire strategy. We'll see if it pans out for him. But V. Rita has not started this deep in the field all season. Looks like a bright, sunshiny day here for race day. And it looks like track temperatures are going to be up, so soft tires are going to wear out relatively quick around here, especially the high loads that the left front tires will take through the sweeping right-handers of this track, especially coming off of the backstretch. So you basically fall full speed at the end of the backstretch. That sweeping right-hander puts a lot of stress on the left front tire. So it'll be interesting to see how long the softs last, and it'll be interesting to see the alternate tire strategy that V. Rita is running versus everybody else. So pretty excited for this race. It's going to be a 50% race around Paul Ricard. Obviously, the track is a far cry from what it once was back in the 70s, but we'll do the formation lap, and Callum Anderson starting on pole position for the first time this season. That is a great effort by him to be starting on pole. He'll be followed by Salmon Pike starting in the second spot in the Alfa Romeo. See if he can snatch away that top spot. Your two-time Formula One champion here in HTA. Q-Tip is starting in the third spot. Zero is starting in fourth. We'll see if he can work his way into a podium spot as well. And Khalifa, who has shown flashes of speed throughout the course of the year, starting in fifth. I'm sure he's going to want to try and work his way into a podium spot as well. Epic the Animal, third in championship standings, coming off of a podium finish last time out. He's got 3 podiums to his credit this year. Can he add a fourth one to it? And Gadd, with a really good qualifying effort to come in 7th. He was able to jump in front of V. Rita, your championship points leader, starting deep in the field. It's the deepest he started all season. He's the only driver currently on the hard tires running an alternate tire strategy. Harry Saunders has shown some flashes of speed this year. He's got a pole position to his credit. He'll be starting in the 9th spot, see if he can work his way through the field, put some points on the board for Williams, along with Invictus as well. And Invictus starting in the 10th spot in the Racing Point. Don't think there's any team orders between him and V. Rita, so Invictus will be racing for himself today. And Fozzie Wazzie will be starting in the 11th spot. She's coming off of a DNF last time out. It was her 3rd DNF of the season. Should be looking to put some points on the board today. And Charlie Sampson didn't set a time in qualifying. He'll be starting in 12th. He will try and work his way into that top 10 and put some points on the board. And Nelson Santos, who we haven't seen in a couple rounds, will be starting in the 13th spot. He joined mid-qualifying session and wasn't able to set a time. And he'll be starting 13th in the Ferrari. And that is going to round out your 13 drivers for today's event. By all means, like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Hit me up with a live chat. I've got the live stream going and monitoring the chat as we speak. Got any questions or comments, let me know as we get set for a 50% race here at Paul Ricard for the HTA RL. That's Hit the Apex Racing League here in the Assists League. Now, HTA does run an elite league with no assists. If you want to run with the big boys, you can try and do that. They raced earlier today. Another exciting race for HTA. And as I said, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel and get caught up on all of the previous races from this season. It's been quite a season in the previous 9 rounds. But KCG not making the race today. It's going to be a big opportunity for V. Rita to try and capitalize on KCG not being here. But he starts deep in the field. And Epic the Animal will be starting in 6th. He's also still in championship hunt, so could be interesting. We wait for the 5 red lights. Lights out, time to run what you brung their way in a puff of smoke, and a good start by Q-Tip as he's able to jump Salmon Pike, and he's going to move up. Is into the inside of Callum Anderson. He's trying to take that spot away. Pike goes around the outside, sets him up for the next corner. He pushes Q-Tip wide. Q-Tip side by side with him, not giving up that spot. They close it on Callum Anderson under braking. Pike is going to take the inside line. Q-Tip's going to have to fall into the line into 3rd. It looks like we've got a car off on track, and that is V. Rita has fallen all the way back to 12th. Looks like he's had an incident or possibly trying to avoid the melee. He falls all the way to 12th. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead continues. It's a three-car chase. Callum Anderson being pursued by Salmon Pike. He's trying to take the more defensive line. Cuts in front of Pike, slams the door on him, and Pike unable to get around him. Oh, but Anderson can't get out of the corner very well. Pike's got a good run coming out of the chicane. And now he's to the inside, and this is the sweeping right-hander I was talking about. It's going to put a lot of stress on the left front tire. Anderson's going to try and hang tough on the outside. They bang wheels a little bit, and they're still side by side as they head through the corner. Pike's going to try and push him wide. Anderson's still hanging tough, but he's going to have to give up the position, and now Q-Tip finds himself trying to take away the second spot from Anderson. Anderson doesn't want to give it back. He wants that top position back. This is his best qualifying effort to date. The first time he started on pole in HTA, dives to the inside of Salmon Pike. Pike runs a little wide there. And now this very tight right-hander, Q-Tip's going to try and get in there and undercut that. And he's going to have to tuck back in line. Unbelievable first lap from these guys. Top three. Starting to make a little bit of headway. And look at Gadd. Gadd has moved up into fourth from seventh in the starting position. V. Rita is now making his way past Fozzie Wazzie for the 11th spot. And now Q-Tip is side by side with Anderson. Anderson comes back across the track. He doesn't want to give it the spot. Dives to the inside. Makes contact, and around goes Anderson. Oh no, it's falling apart for Callum Anderson. And a 3-second time penalty to boot, and he's going to drop through the field. Oh, and he's going to retire from the session. Come on, Callum. Come on, man. Anderson's going to rage quit, calls it a day, and that is disappointing. Man, you're better than that. So Anderson with 2 DNFs in a row. Last week he was taken out by David Wallbank. This week he takes himself out because of a rage quit. Started on pole, and now the race is on between Salmon Pike and Q-Tip. For the top spot, Gadd running in third. That is great for Gadd after he qualified seventh. Zero is up into fourth. And then we've got this mess of cars back here. This is Harry Saunders in fifth. Epic the Animal in sixth. And Khalifa in seventh. Now Epic hasn't been able to make much headway after starting in the sixth spot. He's where he is at now. Then we've got Invictus closing in on this battle as well. So we've got ourselves... Really, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, almost a 5-car battle for the fourth spot. Meanwhile, Q-Tip is closed in on Salmon Pike. The gap is now down to half a second. Now, V. Rita just ran the fastest lap of this race at a 1:36 flat. He's still currently 10th. He's 0.4 of a second behind Charlie Sampson for that 9th spot. Now this is lap 3, so the DRS will be enabled. That is the drag reduction system on the rear wing. For those not familiar with Formula 1, they've got that drag reduction system. You see the rear wing slot open. That's to reduce the drag and give a little bit of a slipstream boost to the car behind. But you got to be within 1 second. You see Salmon Pike snaking back and forth down the straightaway, trying to break up that slipstream. Oh, and Q-Tip goes around the outside. He's going to make a work crossover move by Salmon Pike. They're side by side coming out of the chicane. And Callum Anderson has officially left the session. Look at the Salmon Pike trying to side draft off of Q-Tip's car. They're still side by side, heading to the sweeping right-hander. Q-Tip trying to hang tough on the outside. He's going to let Salmon Pike have it. He's going to try and cross back over onto the tight right-hander here. And Salmon Pike with some great defensive driving. Q-Tip all over the gearbox of the Alfa Romeo of Pike. And Pike runs wide coming out of that corner. These two have pulled away. Meanwhile, Gadd is under threat now from Zero. So Zero's been able to separate himself from that battle, that 5-car battle that's going on back here. So it's now Harry Saunders and the Williams. Oh, and Epic has dived into the pits. This is quite premature. I wonder if Epic had some wing damage. And Q-Tip is getting around Salmon Pike down the front straightaway into turn 1. And V. Rita just ran the fastest lap again at a 1:35.652. He's moved up into 8th. And that's because Epic pitted. Epic pitted very early. He must have had wing damage or something. And we've got Anthony Johnson with us on the live chat, Fun Oreo. And he's talking about Anderson there. He should have had patience. It was the beginning of the race. I absolutely agree. But some of these young cats just don't have patience. And a lot can happen throughout the course of a race. You see the battle going on here for the lead. And then you've got Gadd defending his position. as they head to the chicane. He's got 0 all over the gearbox of him. And Rita just got by Invictus. Now, I didn't see the pass. It's 2 racing points. I didn't think there was any team orders between them, but Invictus may have given that spot to Rita. V-Rita, your championship points leader. Meanwhile, Q-Tip and Sam and Pike still battling it out. Pike just ran very wide of that right-hander. And 0 runs very wide in that right-hander behind there. Rita now. Rita's all over the back of Harry Saunders as he continues to make his drive through the field. He started in the 8th spot. He had contact on the opening lap, dropped all the way back to 11th. He's now on a comeback drive. Now, Q-Tip just ran the fastest lap of this race, and he's been able to pull out a 1.37 second gap over Sam Pike in second. But we're watching V-Rita here in the racing point as he dives into turn 1. He's all over the back of Harry Saunders' Williams. Saunders is a bit of a scrappy driver. He's had a couple of good runs this year. He had a pole position back at round 4, I think it was. So right on board with V-Rita to see what he can do to try and get around it. He's going to have the slipstream and the DRS advantage heading down this long back straightaway. I guess it was round 4 that Harry Saunders had his pole position back at Hockenheim. So Saunders has got a little bit of speed, but look how much the slipstream is helping along with the DRS. And V-Rita is going to easily make that pass as they head down into the chicane. So V-Rita will set his sights on Khalifa next. Khalifa running in the 5th spot. We've got a yellow flag, sector 2. Looks like that might have been Invictus has gone around. And Invictus looks like he's lost his front wing altogether. So that's bad news for Invictus. And here comes Fozzie Wozzie. Now Fozzie Wozzie's going to be able to pick up a free spot because of the damage done to Invictus's car. So good on her. She'll be able to move into the 9th position. Meanwhile, 0 still trying to find a way around Gad, and Gad is actually Gad runs very wide. Oh, he's going to head into the pits. Scrap that. 0 now is going to move into the 4th spot, but he's got Khalifa all over the back of him. And Fun Oreo giving us some driver analytics on the live chat, talking about tire temperatures on the hot track and a full tank of gas. So Q-Tip's in the mediums. He'll be able to run them probably twice as long as those soft tires. And I feel like the softs are probably already starting to give up. As you see, Sam Pike has got 5 laps on his softs, and he's lost ground. And now you see Khalifa is making a move on 0 for that 3rd spot. Again, mediums taking over the soft tires, so mediums starting to come in, the softs are starting to fall out. And a good job by Khalifa to move into the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, V-Rita is the only driver out on track on the hards, making his comeback drive. He is up to 5th. Harry Saunders has gone down to 6th. He's got Chasmeister Charlie Sampson closing in on the back of him. And Invictus, he came in, he's pitted, he's got a new front wing, he's on a fresh set of mediums. He's back out on track. So we started with 13 cars, 12 remaining. Callum Anderson, the only one out right now. Unfortunately, he rage quit very early on after making contact with Q-Tip for the 2nd position. But it was a great qualifying effort by Callum Anderson to snatch the pole position, and Khalifa is going to work his way up into 3rd under the pit sequence. So that moves up V-Rita another spot. So V-Rita has worked his way into 4th. Tire strategy starting to come into play for V-Rita. Looks like 0 is going to come out of the pits. Now the pit stop delta here, about 20 seconds. And there you see 0 back out on track. Gets out just in front of Epic the Animal. And Epic had that debauchery in qualifying where he accidentally put on the intermediate tires. He did come around to set a time on mediums, but his race has not gone the way that I don't think he wanted it to. He's down in the 10th position on 3-lap-old softs. He's obviously going to have to make another pit stop. And look at this. What is going on here? Harry Saunders and Charlie Sampson running side by side with each other. And then there's a big gap back to Gadd, who's in the 7th spot. So Sampson makes the move up into 5th through the sweeping right-hander. Meanwhile, Zero on the fresh set of tires is going to... Well, he kind of cuts that corner, pushes Fozzie Wazzie wide. Zero picks up a 3-second time penalty. Fozzie tries to get out of the way. She's going to run very wide through the sweeping right-hander here. She's going to fall back into the 9th spot. She's got Epic all over the back of her now. Fozzie still trying to defend her position. Epic's got the fresher tires, and it looks like Fozzie's going to dive into the pits. No! Epic's going to get to the inside of her and take that 9th position away. Meanwhile, Saunders is all over the back of Charlie Sampson now. And Gadd just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Great move by Saunders. Gets to the inside of Sampson and swings across his front nose. But now Charlie Sampson's got the DRS slot open. He's coming down to drag race down to the chicane. He's got the DRS slot open, heavy braking zone. And Harry Saunders cuts across the nose of Charlie Sampson, defends the position. Sampson gets a good run coming out of the corner. Side by side, they're trying to side draft off of each other. Some NASCAR style side by side racing right there. Wheel to wheel action. They come through the sweeping right hander. He hits the pylon, knocks it across the track. And look at this, Saunders trying to hang tough on the outside, and Charlie Sampson's going to make it work, gets the job done. He moves into 5th, but here comes Saunders back to the inside at the next corner. Crossover move for Sampson, gets back underneath of him. And this is some great racing between these two drivers. Sampson not able to make it this time. Closes up under braking. He's trying to get the power down. Very tight right-hander, and now he is back out. He's going to have the DRS coming down the front straightaway. Salmon Pike dives into the pits. To the inside goes Sampson. And again, Saunders hangs tough on the outside. Again, crossover removed by Sampson. Can't make it work. Sampson needs to bide his time now and just wait until he gets to the back straightaway, gets the power down. Great run off the corner by Saunders, though. Saunders was able to pull out a couple of car lengths, gets the gap. Here comes Sampson. He's got the DRS slot open. He's not using the slipstream off of the car. He's just using the straight DRS right now. He's not going to be able to get there in time. And again, Saunders is going to hang tough on the outside, shuts the door on him. Crossover move once again by Sampson. Now they're going to be side by side. Sampson needs to tuck in behind Saunders and take advantage of the slipstream. He's just not doing it. Epic the Animal just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Sampson to the inside once again. He's got the better line coming through the corner, but they touch. They make contact. Saunders again sweeps across the nose of Sampson, slams the door on him. And Sampson's still trying to find a way to get around this very wide Williams car as it is right now. Harry Saunders doing some great defensive driving. Khalifa just pitted from the 3rd spot, and Sampson's going to dive into the pits. Khalifa just dived into the pits, so that has moved V. Rita up into the 2nd spot. So the alternate tire strategy is working for V. Rita, despite starting deep in the field and having that spin and contact on the opening lap. He fell back to as far back as to 11th. He is now up into 2nd. A great comeback drive running the alternate tire strategy. He was the only driver to start on the hard tires. We're already on lap 10 of 27 of this, what has been a very exciting Grand Prix so far. And now we've got a battle for the 5th spot. This is Khalifa. It's actually a 3-car battle because we've got Salmon Pike running in 5th, Khalifa running in 6th, and Zero running in 7th. And they're all, you can throw a blanket over all 3 of them. 2 of them are going to have DRS advantage. Then you see Epic the Animal running in 8th. And Salmon Pike is actually not that far off of Gad, so this is turning into a four-car battle. There you see Gad in the Red Bull, Salmon Pike in the Alfa Romeo. We're watching Khalifa in the Mercedes and Zero in the Haas. And Khalifa definitely showed some speed early on this year. He kicked the season off with a pole position back at Bahrain. He's got a podium to his credit. So, a bit of a crowd favorite. So things seem to have calmed down here for just a second. Fozzie Wazzie picked up a 3-second time penalty. She's currently running in the 10th spot. And it looks like Epic is finally going to dive into the pits. Now that's going to be I think that's his second pit stop. And that would be his second pit stop that he's made in the first 11 laps of this race. He's gone soft, so we'll see if he switches over to the mediums or the hards. And it looks like he has switched over to the hard tires. And he looks like he's going to come out in the 10th position ahead of Nelson Santos. Meanwhile, Salmon Pike's getting a good run coming out of that left-hander down the long straightaway. Got the DRS slot open using the slipstream to go side by side with Gad. He's going to get to the inside. He's easily going to be able to make that move. So Gad falls into 5th. Khalifa will now set his sights on Gad, but Gad totally not giving up on that battle. And a 3-second time penalty for Nelson Santos, right now running in the 11th spot. And it looks like Salmon Pike able to gap Gad, and Gad takes that corner a little bit wide. He's going to open the door a little bit for Khalifa. Khalifa tucked right up underneath at the back of the Red Bull now. And Salmon Pike just ran the fastest lap of this race. Harry Saunders dives into the pits on 11-lap old medium tires. And Khalifa thought about making a move, tucked back in line. Zero picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's trying to keep touch with this battle here. And Khalifa now, he's going to have the DRS advantage. And the slipstream off of Gad's car. Can he make the move on Gad? It's a little far back coming on the backstretch. Gad's going to have DRS advantage as well. So he'll be able to use that for his defense, but Khalifa way too far back to try and make a move. Unbelievable race. V Rita, we've been keeping tabs on V Rita and the timing and scoring. He's been able to close the gap down to Q-Tip to 6 seconds. Q-Tip has just dived into the pit, so V Rita is essentially going to take over the lead of this race. See, he comes down the front stretch now. Q-Tip is coming out of the pits. There goes V Rita to the top of the charts. So his alternate tire strategy. Now the question is going to become, can V Rita pull out enough of a gap over Q-Tip to make sure he doesn't lose that top spot when he does make his pit stop now. Q-Tip is switched over to the hard tires. He's going to run them all the way to the end. I imagine Rita is going to continue running on these hards for another number of laps and possibly switch over to softs. Obviously, he's got to switch over to softs or mediums. He could pit sooner rather than later, take the mediums and run them to the end. But the one-stop strategy seems to be the way to go. A lot of drivers out on the medium or hard tires at this point. Meanwhile, Khalifa's still trying to find a way around Gad for the 4th spot. Salmon Pike's been able to gap this battle by 1.5 seconds. And here goes Khalifa to the inside. And he's going to get there. Crossover move by Gad. Gad's going to get a good run coming out of this corner. Can he stick with him? And a yellow flag, Sector 1, Fozzie Wazzie. DNF. Done for the day. That's unfortunate for her. It's going to be her fourth DNF of the season, second one in a row. That's the one thing I can say about Paul Ricard. The track is so ridiculously wide, and there's just miles and miles of runoff that you usually don't see a safety car, or even a virtual safety car here at this track. If something does happen, it's so far off of the racing line that it doesn't even matter. So we continue to watch this battle. For the fourth spot, and I'm continuing to watch the timing and scoring for Q-Tip. Q-Tip 16 and a half seconds back from V. Rita right now. He's still within pit stop delta range, so if V. Rita pitted right now, Q-Tip would take the lead of this race. Rita's going to want to have to extend that gap to at least 18 seconds, probably 20, 21, just to be safe. And right now, for the most part, just about everybody is spread well apart now. I'm sorry, they're spread well enough apart that there isn't really any battles on track. Gad's still trying to close this gap down to Khalifa. It's the only battle we've got going on, but looks like Khalifa might have a little bit better of a setup on that car as far as the top speed goes, because even though Gad's had the DRS advantage, he hasn't been able to close up on him in the DRS down the straightaways to make a move at the end of the straightaway. So things have cooled down a little bit here for the minute. V. Rita, your current leader, he's out in front to the tune of 16 seconds over the Williams car of Q-Tip. Salmon Pike running in third. Khalifa is running in fourth. He's got Gad nipping at his heels, but Gad's not able to get close enough to make a move. Gad currently running in the fifth spot. Sixth is Zero. And Charlie Sampson running in the seventh spot. V. Rita just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Obviously, time penalties usually play a part at the end of most of these races. I don't think I've seen too many guys pick up time penalties so far in this race. Harry Saunders quietly running in the 8th spot. Epic the Animal not having the day that he wanted, running in 9th. Nelson Santos is running in 10th. And Invictus is sticking with it. He's running in 11th. He's 14 and a half seconds behind Nelson Santos for the 10th spot. But he's out on track doing what he does, and he's continuing to run. So if it turns into a race of attrition, he could capitalize and possibly get himself into the points a little bit. So quite a race. V. Rita just driving, doing what he does. Leads the league in pole positions, leads the league in points, leads the league in wins. V. Rita, a very fast driver. As we talked earlier, 5 pole positions to his credit this year, along with 6 wins. He is the points leader, as we've said. Casey G, who is second in points, not here today. And here we go. V. Rita is going to be pulling into the pits now. Lap 15 of 27. We'll pick up Q-Tip in a moment to see where Q-Tip is going to be in relation to this. But it looks like V. Rita might actually lose a couple of spots in this. Switches over to the mediums. Here comes Q-Tip down the straightaway. So Q-Tip's going to get out in front. So is Salmon Pike. So is Khalifa. So V. Rita drops from first to fourth. But he has got fresh mediums that he is going to run to the end of this race. But he's got a couple of very fast drivers in front of him. Obviously, Q-Tip is a 2-time Formula 1 champion here at HTA RL. Salmon Pike proving that he's very fast today. Khalifa's proven that he's got speed throughout the course of the season with a couple of good runs. And that is going to be the first battle to watch, is V. Rita closing in on Khalifa. And as we said, Khalifa kicked off this season with a pole position back at round 1 at Bahrain. Unfortunately, his race didn't go the way he wanted it to. He came home 9th that round. But he has had a couple of good runs throughout the course of the season. And there you see Rita closing in already through the chicane. And to the inside of Khalifa. And he gets around him. One and done. He sets his sights on Salmon Pike. Now, Khalifa's got 2 podiums to his credit so far this year, plus that pole position, but he couldn't hold off the hard-charging V-Rita with those fresh medium tires. Salmon Pike relatively new, and we got a yellow flag sector 1 and 2, and it looks like it's Invictus. Invictus is going to call it a day. So as it stands, everybody running will get a point if they can finish the race. And V-Rita on a charge. Currently running in 30. He's got 10 seconds. There's 10 laps left in this race. Khalifa picked up a 3-second time penalty. And Khalifa hasn't completely lost touch with V-Rita. He does have that time penalty. It's not going to help. But he hasn't completely lost touch of that battle. He's actually still within DRS range. So he could close up to him under the straightaway here. And Invictus has officially left the session. He's going to be way too far back to make a move right now, but he is closing in on him. And Salmon Pike's actually closing in the gap to Q-Tip. It's down to 1.7 seconds. Salmon Pike, though, he's got 8 laps on those medium tires, and he plans on going another 10. That's going to be putting a lot of stress on those mediums. Looks like the sun's gone away behind the clouds a little bit. Well, I'm not 100% sure there's any rain in the forecast, but it does look like it's starting to get a little cloudy and a little hazy out there here at Paul Ricard today. And fastest lap just set by V-Rita, 1:33.944. Gadd dives into the pits. He's going to swap over out of those old mediums and onto a fresh set that moves 0 up to the 5th spot. And Rita now has closed in on Salmon Pike for the 2nd spot. Charlie Sampson's going to pick up a spot as Gadd moves into the pits. Rita looking to make a move on Salmon Pike. He's got a great run, dives to the inside at the last second. Pike's going to come across the nose. See if Rita can get a good run coming out of the corner. He's all over the gearbox of the Alfa Romeo. Pike's trying to take the defensive line and take away that inside line. They're going to go side by side through the sweeping right-hander, power down, flat out. Salmon Pike hanging tough, holding off your current points leader. And a great run by Salmon Pike, great defensive driving so far. He's making that Alfa Romeo as wide as possible right now. Try and hold back V-Rita. Rita's almost into the back of him. And down into turn 1, Rita not able to get close enough under the DRS range. But he's going to have DRS advantage again as they come down the straightaway, and this time he might actually be close enough. He's going to be coming out of this right-hander. We'll try and get the power down. Looks like Salmon gets a good run coming out of there. And Pike trying to snake his way back and forth across the straightaway, trying to break up that slipstream. But here comes V-Rita anyways. And he's going to make Rita go to the outside. Look at the minimal input that Rita is putting into the steering wheel, trying to not scrub as much speed as possible heading through the chicane. He's got a good run coming in here. Pike taking that inside line away. Very defensive driving. They're still side by side. Woo! It looked like V-Rita had to lift a little bit there. Salmon Pike able to pull out a couple of car lengths. That was very sketchy there for a second. And again, Rita not able to make that pass. Can he make it down into turn one? Because these two are actually starting to catch Q-Tip. You see that Williams right there, that's Q-Tip. And Salmon Pike is almost within DRS range of Q-Tip. So we're about to have a 3-car battle for the lead of this race. And it could get really, really interesting between these guys here. Once again, Salmon Pike running in second. He's almost in DRS range of Q-Tip. V Rita in that Racing Point running in third. That is your points leader. Meanwhile, real quick, we've got Gad back here trying to make a move on the Charlie Sampson, his teammate. That's for the 6th spot, but we're going to stick with this battle here for second. And again, V Rita. But they both got the DRS slots open on their cars. They both have the DRS advantage. Q-Tip is now under threat. Oh, and V Rita blows the braking point. Gets back in line, but that cost him dearly. And look at Khalifa. Khalifa's starting to creep into the background. Khalifa's only 2.3 seconds back. These 3 cars start battling with each other. Khalifa can easily catch up and make this a 4-car race. So as the race winds down, things are starting to heat up again. The mid part of this race went a little quiet, but V Rita has been pursuing Salmon Pike now for a number of laps. Pike has been doing some great defensive driving, and these two have been catching Q-Tip, who is the leader of this race. But Q-Tip is under threat now. Pike and Rita have got the DRS advantage. And now Q-Tip's able to pull out a gap over that. So he gets out of DRS range from Salmon Pike. But Pike's still trying to have to hold off V Rita to the inside. Rita baited him, and he goes to the inside, and Pike hangs tough on the outside. Great defensive driving. And Rita's starting to get a little frustrated, I think, behind the Alfa Romeo of Salmon Pike. Pike is doing some great defensive maneuvers, holding on to that 2nd spot. Rita tried to bait him going into turn 1. He almost had him. Unbelievable. Unbelievable run, and again snaking back and forth across the straightaway, trying to break up that slipstream. Don't want to get carried away with it. You're going to go, and he makes contact. He touches the wheel, and down around goes Salmon Pike. He made contact with V Rita, and that was bound to happen going back and forth like that. Khalifa picks up the 3rd spot. And now V Rita is going to set his sights on the lead and the win of this race. He's 1.5 seconds back from Q-Tip. I know Q-Tip's not going to make it easy for him, but Q-Tip has got them hard tires. Them medium tires are right in their sweet spot right now. They're really going to start coming in as far as temperature and pressures go. Nelson Santos picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's inconsequential to his finishing position. He is running in the 10th spot all by his lonesome. I think Salmon Pike's going to want that move back. I think he got a little advantageous going into that corner, and he hopped the curb. He tried to get back to the inside of V Rita, and he just made contact. It was right front to left rear, and unfortunately, Rita's on the racing line, and a little advantageous there on the part of Salmon Pike. I think he's going to want that one back. I think he probably could have hung tough with him through the chicane and maybe gotten it back on the back part of the straightaway into that sweeping right-hander, but right now we're watching V Rita, and he's closing in on Q-Tip. He's down to a 2nd. He's just outside of the DRS range. Lap 22 of 27, and I don't think Q-Tip's going to want to give up this top spot very easily. Q-Tip, your 2-time Formula 1 champion here in HTA RL. Now, I don't think he's had a win all season. He's had a number of good runs. Finished 4th last week. He's got 2 podiums to his credit. He had a podium back in round 7 in Austria. And he had another one. He had his first podium of the year back at Spa. So He does good at these low drag configuration tracks, kind of like Paul Ricard, so he might be able to hold him off. But it's down to 0.3 of a second on lap 23 of 27. You know darn well Virita is going to be biding his time, and he is going to try and set up Q-Tip on this straightaway. He's just he's all over the back of him. I don't think there's anything Q-Tip's going to be able to do to try and make this work. DRS slot open. Full rich. ERS going to the inside. He easily outbreaks the Williams of Q-Tip, and he's going to take the lead of this race. Great move. Textbook pass by Virita. Q-Tip not giving up on it, though. And Harry Saunders just ran the fastest lap of this race. He's all the way down to 9th spot. Just went 1:32.741. And Q-Tip losing ground, even with the DRS slot open. Falls back to 0.6 of a second. He's not going to be close enough to make a move. So, unfortunately, Q-Tip looks like he's going to be a bridesmaid once again. As they say, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. I will be coming home in the 2nd spot. It looks like as the laps wind down, lap 24 of 27, 3 laps remaining in this race. 3.5 actually at this point. And Zero picks up a 3-second time penalty, but there's still some racing left to be done on this track because here comes Epic. Epic the Animal in the 8th spot, closing in on Charlie Sampson. Epic has not had a good race weekend. Unfortunately for him, he made a mistake in qualifying, accidentally put intermediate tires on in the dry, ran a 1:46. Then he did try and put in a good qualifying time, and in the end, starting mid-pack. Wasn't able to make a lot of headway, started in the 6th spot. Stayed 6th for quite some time. Fell back under the first pit sequence. Here he is trying to work his way back into 7th. Can he get there soon enough to make the move? Oh, no! Looks like Charlie Sampson outbroke himself. Feeling the pressure from... And Charlie Sampson picks up a 5-second time penalty for that maneuver there. He cut the corner big time. So that's going to cost him. Epic the Animal going to get that position easily at this point. So that battle's all for naught at this point. Sampson not, even if he holds him off, it's still a 5-second penalty. And Epic has actually been one of the most consistent drivers throughout the course of this year at not getting a penalty. Not only does he make consistent finishes, but he's been consistent on track, not getting penalties. So, in fact, I think he has the fewest penalties in the league. I don't know what the official stat is, but I'm fairly confident that he's got the least amount of penalties in this league, at least on-track penalties. He hasn't had anything, any type of altercation with any of the drivers. So there's no post-race penalties to be spoken of. So Epic is going to get that 6th spot away from Charlie Sampson as we are on lap 25 of 27. And the laps are winding down. And the gap from 1st to 2nd, still right around 1.5 seconds. Virita looks like he's going to be walking away with another win. Q-Tip will be 2nd. Epic is going to make the pass. Epic makes the pass, so he's officially in the 6th spot. Charlie Sampson picks up another 3-second time penalty, so he could lose a little bit of ground to Salmon Pike. Salmon Pike has put on the soft tires. Pike is out on track. Looks like he's going to go for the fastest lap, maybe pick up the bonus points for this round. Only a couple of laps to do it. And really, he's only going to leave himself a 1 lap to do it, so. And Khalifa has pitted from 3rd. Why did Khalifa pit? That moves 0 up into the 3rd spot. Khalifa swapping over to a fresh set of softs. I wonder if Khalifa thought he had more time in a pit stop delta. Why would you give up a podium spot to throw in softs to try and run the fastest lap? Not a smart move. So 0 finds himself in a surprise podium position, running at 3rd. He's 22 seconds behind Q-Tip, 5.5 seconds out in front of Khalifa, who made a unwise pit strategy there. That one's got me boggled. Unless his rear tires were actually gone, he didn't think he was going to make it the last 2 laps without getting a puncture. There was no reason for him to pit right there. But Khalifa was running pretty consistent lap times. It wasn't as if his car was going away from him that bad. And Q-Tip is really falling off of the pace now, 2 seconds back from this battle here. So V Rita coming across the line. He's going to start the final lap of this race. What a drive by V Rita. What can you say? Started in 8th. I thought he would get stuck deep in the field. He had an altercation on lap 1 where he had to cut a corner and miss a melee. He fell all the way back to 11th spot. He started on the hard tires. He has driven his way back under the conditions. He is out in front of the tune of 2.2 seconds. An unbelievable drive by V Rita. And I got to say, with KCG not making it today, this was a drive for the championship by far. He is not only going to walk away with the win, he's not going to be totally locked into the championship just yet. Mathematically, Epic and KCG would still have the potential to garner the championship if, there was some string of bad luck happened to V Rita. But this right here, the drive today, this drive is going to define the championship for him. I guarantee it. He's going to come out on top this year, and it's going to be because of this drive today, starting deep in the field like that, going through the lap 1 melee, running the hard tires and the alternate tire strategy, and he did it from the get-go. He qualified on hards. He knew what he was doing coming into today's race, and unbelievable drive from him. That is some top-notch, methodical driving, just getting it done. So, driver of the day, he's got my vote. And Khalifa does get around 0. Look at that. I didn't think Khalifa would have enough speed in those tires, but he makes the pass. So V Rita comes across the line. But look at that. Q-Tip gets it on time penalties. Oh, I didn't expect that by 1/10 of a second. Oh my goodness, and the commentator's curse. I was praising V Rita the whole way, and Q-Tip comes out on top. Khalifa is going to come across the line in 3rd. Is that where he is going to stay? Time penalties bit V Rita in the butt. Khalifa comes across 3rd. 0 is 4th. And Gad is going to come across the line in 5th. Epic, the animal, recovery drive. Oh, but Epic loses a couple spots. Sam and Pike's able to take over 5th because of time penalties, because of Gad and Epic's time penalties. Charlie Sampson is 8th. Harry Saunders all the way in the back. So Harry Saunders will come across the line. And crashes into the wall, no need for that. And Nelson Santos comes across for 10th. So, commentator's curse, I was praising V Rita all the way, and by 1/10 of a second, Q-Tip comes out on top. However, I stand by my previous statement for V Rita. Today's drive was an unbelievable drive by him. From the back to the front. A great day. Actually, it was from the back and then even further in the back to the front. So congratulations to V Rita. That was definitely a champion's drive today. But Q-Tip coming out on top because of time penalties. Unbelievable. By 1/10 of a second. I'm pretty sure Q-Tip's probably even shocked himself. So here's your unofficial results for today's Grand Prix. Q-Tip coming out on top by 1/10 of a second over V Rita. Khalifa with another podium position. I think that's his third one of the season. Zero comes home fourth. Salmon Pike recovers to fifth. Gad with sixth. Epic the Animal is seventh. Charlie Sampson was eighth. Harry Saunders was ninth. Nelson Santos was 10th. And then 11th through 13th was Invictus, Bozzy Wozzy, and Callum Anderson. And unfortunately, only 13 cars on track today. But nothing short of spectacular. So short on car count did not mean short on action. It was an epic battle through and through. And I cannot wait for next week. Next week is going to be an extremely interesting race because speaking of low drag setups, Q-Tip once again coming out on top on another track that's low drag setup. Baku is next week, the Grand Prix of Azerbaijan. Baku, that is going to be one to watch. And there's only 3 rounds left in this season for HTA RL, the Assists League. And the championship fight is not over. KCG, who wasn't in the race today, still in it. Epic the Animal, mathematically, could happen, probably not going to. So it's not over just yet. What a race today. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Be sure to check us out and get caught up on all the other races that we've had this year. Remember, this is the Assist League. They have an Elite Series to watch as well, where they don't run any of the assists. That is also very interesting. Guys, what a race. I look forward to doing this again next week at Baku. Tune in to see what happens as this championship winds down and see if V-Rita can take it to the top. Guys, I am KAMIKAZE-FOX. This has been Hit the Apex Racing League on the assist side. We will see you all at the next round.